So what is the lasagna gardening method? So the lasagna gardening method has absolutely nothing to do with the Italian dish. However, much like lasagna, this method has layers to it. The idea of the lasagna method is to create layers of organic material that will then create nutrient-rich soil by decomposing or composting over time. There are 3 layer types when you're making a lasagna garden. Your first is going to be your brown layers, and so those are going to be your more carbon-rich materials. So that includes things like dry leaves, wood sticks, cardboard, sawdust was one of the other options. The materials that we have to use are going to be sticks, dried leaves, and cardboard. So that will be considered our brown layer. This method will also require you to have green layers. So your green layers, in contrast to your brown layers, are going to be your nitrogen-rich materials. So examples of that are like old vegetables, like kitchen scraps, fresh cut grass, manure. So we have horse manure. We actually have like questionably large amounts of horse manure. So that's what we're going to be using for our green layers, but those are the types of things that are typically included in your green layers. Your last layer is your top layer, which is kind of self-explanatory. It's the last final single layer at the top, and that's usually going to be like store purchased or regular topsoil. So like an actual lasagna, you could think as the brown layers as the noodles, and then you could think of the green layers as like your cheese, meat sauce, and then the topsoil is basically like all the Parmesan you put up top. I think that makes it like a really good simile, metaphor. Again, these are just the materials that I'm going to be using. I'm going to show a picture, but there's so many different types of materials you can use for your brown layers and for your green layers. I'm just using what I have accessible to me, what I already have, because I'm not wanting to really like go out and spend money on this, but I also want to make sure that I do it right. So there's a little bit of a balance there. I mean, funny enough, I'm not joking when I say like I have a lot of horse manure, like crazy amounts of horse manure for this project. Shout out to my parents for procuring the most amount of horse shit that I've ever had in my life, which is, it was actually quite the drive to get that. So going back to the original concept of the lasagna method, you're always going to want to start with your brown layer. So think of that as like your noodle to your lasagna. It's got to have like a structural bottom. And so they suggest usually just doing the cardboard and sticks just for the brown bottom layer. And then from there you can alternate brown, green, however many times that you want. And then you're gonna top it off with your topsoil. I think one of the issues is I don't know how many layers I'm gonna do. I think some people show like 6 layers. I don't know. We're gonna kind of see how many layers I can get through. I don't know how many layers I'm gonna be able to fit into this garden. So we're just gonna try it out and see, but I think at most we will have 4 layers. But I guess we'll see as we go. Some people will tell you that you can immediately plant into the lasagna garden that you create, but it's actually kind of recommended that you water it regularly and let it like decompose a little bit before putting anything in the garden itself. But I think that's what I'm going to do anyways, because I need to get a jump start on seed starters so that I will have something to put into my lasagna garden. So this kind of works out. I'm going to be doing this first, letting it sit in water for a little bit, and then hopefully I'll have something in it. So as I mentioned, our first layer is going to be made of cardboard and sticks. I'm trying to use materials that I already have because I didn't want to go out and buy cardboard. It just seems kind of like a waste, so just trying to be as creative as possible. So I have just been holding on to these for a little while. Truth be told, I had some trouble breaking down these boxes, so I'm making some edits so you don't have to watch me struggle doing that too much. Our second layer is going to be sticks. Again, I'm only going to use this for the very bottom layer. One of my biggest concerns when I was doing this is it not being flat enough. I think when I'm looking at the layers online, they make it seem so dense, but it just wasn't realistic for this. But I tried to do as best of a job as possible to kind of keep it dense and flattened. Our first green layer is going to be made from lawn clippings. I had some that I had already pulled out a while back, but I also just took the liberty of taking some scissors and clipping some overgrown grass that was kind of behind our shed. Our next layer is going to be dried leaves, so this is going to be our second brown layer. We have some dried leaves that fall from the magnolia tree in our backyard. We also have some dried leaves kind of in the brush behind me. There's some really dry, almost decomposed leaves, and so I went ahead and used those for our second brown layer. As you can see, it's starting to come together. It's starting to look a little bit more dense, which made me happy because I was getting a little worried at the beginning. But here we are with our count it, 3 layers. We are finally ready for the beloved horse manure. This is our first bucket. I guess we're gonna see how many buckets we go through. I started off by shoveling it in there like one at a time, only to realize there has got to be a better way of doing this. So I just kind of hoisted the bucket up so we can be efficient. We gotta be efficient when we're doing this. So this is gonna be our second green layer. For this brown layer, I'm gonna use dried leaves again, but we also have some like dried up grass and weeds that I thought I would use as well. All right, we're on horse manure bucket numero 2. For this layer of horse manure, I finally figured out to work smarter, not harder, and just dumped it in there. That was a hell of a lot easier. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Our final layer is going to be the topsoil. I already had some sitting in the garden bed below. There's one that's on the ground, and so I just had it in a bucket for a while. So I'm just breaking that apart, shoveling it into that pot, and then putting it up top. And now we are done with our lasagna garden. Thanks for watching, y'all. I hope you found this helpful. It was a lot of fun to do.